ways to help us get through these difficult economic times. One is, first of all, we have energy needs. Gas is going down now, it's going to go back up. We offer rewards. I offer, example, $7 billion reward for the first company that puts in 10 hydrogen stations and 1,000 hydrogen cars in each major city, because that will get the hydrogen economy going, or other energy that's similarly clean burning. And also we offer we offer rewards for clean energy sources that are cleaner, cost less, and that spark economic growth, like I just mentioned. And one other thing we can do is, again, close down most of these foreign bases, bring these troops home. If they start spending their money here, instead of in these foreign countries, think about what a shot in the arm that'll be. Some of them will buy houses, that'll help the real estate market. Those are two things that we can do, that the government can do, that, again, shutting down most of the foreign military bases kills two birds with one stone. It helps our economy and it helps our foreign relations matters.
Okay, many people are worried about soaring unemployment rate. Can you explain how to create more jobs locally and nationwide? This is a public question.
Again, it's not the role of the federal government to create economic prosperity or lack thereof like it did in this case. And I just gave two examples of how the federal government could do things. Again, rewards for energy breakthroughs that produce significant economic activity, that cost less, and that is much cleaner. Hydrogen, for example, just so you know, in a fuel cell, it emits only steam, produces electricity. The Department of Energy said on a full-time, if fully implemented, hydrogen would cost between 63 cents to $1.50 in gasoline equivalent terms. So it costs a lot less. It emits no CO2. You can make it right now from natural gas and you get half the CO2 emissions on a well-to-wheels basis from start to finish. But again, closing down most of the foreign military bases, bring the troops home, let them spend their money here. That'll help prop up our local economies. Those are my recommendations.
Okay, this is content based.
It's a great question, and if we really knew the answer to it exactly, then the world would be a better place. But obviously, Saxby wants to have more jobs. He fights for that. He works to make sure that jobs that are in this country stay in this country, so that Americans and folks that are here in this country legally can be employed and be productive citizens and residents of this country and taxpayers. But ultimately, we need to get the economy going again, and that's, again, going back to the economic stimulus package that he voted for. That's part of it. We need to get our economy going. It's not about Wall Street and corporate fat cats. It's about folks like you and me who work hard every day, and that's his focus.
Okay, let's go to another question about the economy. This is about deficit, government deficit, prepared by Alex Wood this year.
My name is Alex Hood, representing OCA. So far, I'm impressed by the two of you. Thank you very much. My question is this: what's your view of national debt, which is now over 10 trillion, and what are you going to do about it?
It's a great question. The current situation with the national deficit is horrible, and something needs to be done about it. We got to where this country had a balanced budget, and then 9/11 hit, and defense spending went through the roof as we shored up and had to put money back into a system that had been cut for many years under the previous administration. But it is my belief that with the John McCain administration, who is a guy who is in the Senate, been the advocate for cutting spending and cutting pork barrel projects and doing away with earmarks, that when we put John McCain in the White House, we will get that spending under control. And that's how we're going to do it. We're not going to do away with the deficit by more social programs and more spending and higher taxes like Barack Obama.
And adjusted for inflation, every year that he's been in the House, every year that he's been in the Senate, non-defense spending has increased. And he claims he's for smaller government. Now, come on. Do you think we're stupid? That's his record. They just show you the GAO, that's the Government Accountability Office. That's the audit arm of the federal government, says GAO's current long-term simulations continue to show ever larger deficits, resulting in a federal debt burden that ultimately spirals out of control. control. Did I get that word for word?
Yeah.
I've been using it a lot. Here's another. GAO says we keep taxes at the level we're used to, about 18.3% of GDP. GDP is the economy, gross domestic product. In about 2 decades, the revenue will be insufficient to cover net interest expense, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. We're on a treacherously, as the GAO says, we're on a fiscally unsustainable path. We're on an unsustainable fiscal path. You've seen Saxby's picture in the paper. This is Saxby's picture as an income statement. Again, I've got a financial background. Saxby says he wants to make the 2001 and 2003 tax cuts permanent without cutting spending. He's never proposed any significant spending cuts in his career. The black line is revenue. The boxes are expenditures. The white box is the regular government. Below here, you see entitlements, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. This is interest expense. Interest expense on our debt is the dark box. By 2040, most of our dollars, tax dollars, we only pay interest expense on our debt. And we are finished. We are finished. If you have a single patriotic bone in your body, you will not vote for Saxby Chambliss because he is not fiscally fit to be in the United States Senate. The only candidate in this race who understands these problems, these are the greatest problems that our country faces, by far. Again, democracies historically have collapsed over loose fiscal policy. That's where we're headed. We've got loose monetary policy too. Again, as I mentioned, we've got to fix monetary policy. We've got to fix fiscal policy. I would fight for balanced budgets every year that we're not in a depression or a significant recession.
Okay, the time is up. Well, as Alex asked, we want to hear then, if there's a serious problem, then how are we going to solve this problem? How are we going to reduce the deficit? Can you answer that question? Is that public question?
Yeah, in today's AJC, the question, what do we do about the federal debt? First of all, you have to stop digging. And I propose a very simple tax plan, okay? And it's designed to tie spending to the tax rate. We have a net, you figure out your net income, you get 4 deductions: your personal home mortgage interest, charitable contributions, retirement up to the current limit of $15,500, and high-deductible health plan insurance. It's not a deduction now. You get those 4 deductions, you get your net income. You figure out your net income. If you're below the poverty level amount, which for a family of 4 is about $21,400, it's exactly that. For any single individual, I think it's $10,300. If your income, net income is below that, you don't pay any tax. If it's above that, you pay 20% of the first $25,000 of income, and above that, you pay the X rate. And X is whatever is necessary to balance the budget for the year. So if expenditures go up, X goes up, and you make the politicians accountable. The taxpayers have to pay for the government, and so they have to justify their government.
So, Mr. Thompson, can you show some solutions for you?
It's not easy, I can assure you that. We do need to cut spending in this country. We do need to look at how we can conserve our resources and not spend at the levels we've been spending at. That is obvious. Where exactly we do it, I don't know. You get into the entitlements issue, which obviously a lot of our budget is spent every year on entitlements. A significant portion of that budget is spent on defense funding. We need to look at it and come up with real solutions for it. I am not in the United States Senate, and I am not an economics PhD, so I cannot solve it sitting here in 30 seconds or less. But we do have to cut spending, and raising taxes is not the way to do that. We've got to keep our taxes low, because that does stimulate the economy and keep jobs and everything I've gone over before. So we do have to cut spending, but coming in and saying we're going to cut military defense spending 30% across the board is not the way to do that.
Well, it's probably back something, but we have very little time. Is it okay? We need to go with the next question. We have 6 more questions. That's all. Yeah. The next question is about education, and we have Dow Malakoff. Yeah, please.
Good evening. I'm Dana Layton, representing Leadership American Society, and my question from the community is, considering the current K-12 education budget cut, overcrowded classrooms, and in most cases, a high student-to-teacher ratio, how do you propose to improve our education, addressing the needs of all our children at all levels?
Great question. Critically important issue. Saxby's wife was a classroom teacher for 32 years, so she understands the needs of the classroom, and And obviously, as Saxby's here on that issue,